What is going on, guys? Welcome to the garage. It is another Topdown Tuesday, and as promised, it's a detailed video on the Miata that you see behind me. Check it out. What do you guys think? I went ahead and split the car down the middle. I didn't touch the driver's side, and I went ahead and put in a couple hours worth of work on the passenger side. What do you guys think? Go ahead, hit me up in the comments down below. Do you think it is a drastic improvement, or do you think, man, this thing needs a respray? Let me give you a couple close-ups here, just so you guys get a really good understanding of the dirt that was on here and how we're looking now. Much improved. Very soft surface. There's no grinding noise. Listen over here. Listen over here. Yeah, man, that is a hell of a big difference. And this was a ton of work. So instead of talking about it, let me show you exactly how I got to this point. So before we get started, let's talk about single stage paint, because if you guys don't know, NA Miatas from 89 to 97, they came with single stage paint on the entire body except for the bumpers. So what that means is that there is no clear coat on this paint. Now, single stage paint, there's nothing really wrong with it. People think it's trash or it's garbage because if you take your car to Maaco, that's basically what they give you. But the fact of the matter is that there's nothing wrong with single stage paint, and it can be just as shiny as a clear coat paint job like the Prelude behind me. Okay, so the first step to get this cleaned up is to actually give it a wash. Now, when you're doing this, you want your mitt to be pretty wet, but not soaking wet, all right? And man, I am feeling just how grimy this surface is. I mean, dude, it's bad. It's like sandpaper under here. Look at that. Okay guys, so just standing back from this car about 5 feet, you could already see a massive difference as far as the dirty side and the clean side. I want you to make note of the reflections from the overhead fluorescent lights. I want you to look to see how sharp the reflections are. They really are not sharp at all. They're way worse in person. They're actually showing up on camera. So there's lots and lots of work to do with this paint. There's also all sorts of weird kind of staining, uneven coloring in this hood. There's some black marking on here. Up here, the glass, again, it's like sandpaper, as well as all this surround here on the windshield. You could see foot marks from where the previous owner actually walked or stepped on the top of this vehicle. So we're definitely got our work cut out for us here, but it is kind of amazing just by doing a real quick wash what a drastic difference it's made already. Now that the car's clean, I'm gonna go ahead and use a clay bar and wipe the car down. The clay bar does a really good job removing any contaminants that may be stuck into the paint, as well as remove any oxidized paint. This will leave behind a nice smooth surface. It's starting to look better, but it's got a long ways to go. It's in worse shape than I thought it was. I was hoping that underneath the dirt and all the oxidized paint, there'd be some really nice paint underneath, but unfortunately, this 30-year-old car has got 30-year-old paint, and it shows. I followed that up with good old Meg's number 7. This stuff's been around for 100 years, and it is a glaze. What a glaze is a ton and ton of oil. Since this is single stage paint, it is super dry. It's 30 years old and is dried to the bone, so you want to use as much oil as you can to help bring back any kind of life that's left in the paint. Let's get to work. You want to do small sections. I'm talking by like a foot by a foot. That's how small. Really rub it in. Car's not shaking, you're doing it wrong. After applying about a quarter of the bottle to the hood, I let it sit overnight to really let that oil seep into that paint, and it sat for 24 hours before I tried to remove it the next day. All right, what do we got here? Now moving on to another Meguiar's product. It's called Speed Glaze. It also has been around for a long time, and this is a glaze just like number 7. However, it does have some polishing capabilities. I went ahead and grabbed my Portal Cables 7424, which I've had for about 15-20 years, and grabbed the polishing pad, put this stuff on, and go to work. The Speed Glaze did a really good job cleaning up the paint. It is brighter, it looks better, there's a little bit more reflection in it now, and I think basically this paint can't get any better than it is. And so now it's time to move on to a last step product, or a wax. Once again, we're using another Meguiar's product. This time it's number 26, High-Tech Yellow Wax. This is a carnauba wax that, guess what, has a lot of oil in it. That's right, I'm dumping as much oil into this paint as possible. All right, guys, let me know down in the comments, what do you think? Turned out pretty good, not amazing, but pretty good as far as 30-year-old paint goes, as far as this basically being a barn find. I think it's acceptable. Will this car get repainted? Absolutely. This reminds me a lot of the finish that was on the Prelude before I got it painted. So we're not finished yet, We still have to deal with the glass, okay? We still have to deal with the plastic wiper cowl. Let me get these rags out of the way. All right, we still got to deal with the wiper itself as well as the wiper arm. Let's go ahead and pop this guy off and pull the arm off. Check this thing out. Let's go ahead and clean it up. All right, one coat down. What an improvement already, man, huh? Now let's go over here. Give this plastic some love. So normally I would just remove this piece of plastic, spray paint it, trim black, and be done with it. But since we divided the car in half and everything like that, I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of prep it with a little 303 protectant. This stuff is awesome, especially if you have a Miata, because it's really good on vinyl tops. And all I'm gonna do, I know this rag looks dirty, but it's not dirty, it's just stained. This stuff cleans and protects, leaves a nice matte finish, and will prevent your plastic or rubber from fading from the sun. Love this stuff, been using it for like 20 years. Look at the dirt that came off. Flip the rag over and then just buff it. Buff it dry. All right, that wiper arm is dry, and dude, look how awesome it looks. Oh my God, I wish the whole car looked like this. But anyway, we're not stopping here. It's time for a new wiper. So I went to Amazon, where I always get my wipers. Link down below. Got these guys. Vallejo? Is that how you say that? Vallejo? I don't know. These are awesome though, man. I've had them a million times before. What I love about these wipers is they are the old school design. Right? I hate when people put like funky new Rain-X Latitude or whatever on their 30-year-old car. It just looks ridiculous. So let me go ahead and slide this guy on, finish this up. All right, guys, that's gonna do it for this one. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe. Let me know down in the comments, what do you think of this? Do you think this thing needs to be repainted, or should I just go ahead and continue detailing the entire car? I'm starting to think it needs to be repainted sooner rather than later. It doesn't look as good in person as it does on film. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next week. Later.